121 in Tarrant County. We are just north of the section 485283 that we just looked at, about 5 miles. You can see just ahead of us the traffic monitoring box, about 300 feet in advance in the back there of the sharp sign at 500 feet. This overpass here is a new wrinkle. I don't think it should impact our site in any way. It does not impact the traffic that would ride on this particular section. There's no new ramps or the like associated with it. It does look like some of the cuts they made may knock the traffic box down, but the ramp that is part of this work looks like it's going to go right on behind us and out just past the end of our site. I did note that I could not find the sign out on the right-of-way line. Of course, the right-of-way line looks like it's been moved considerably. I went and climbed over the hill and couldn't find it. And I would venture to guess it's been removed during the construction. All the delineators are, however, present. Again, walking through the site now here. We're in the northbound lanes. The only thing that we were able to note in the survey of this section is the transverse cracks. Some of them are quite tight and it was difficult to distinguish them. You can see here. The discoloration tends to help, but not all of the, interestingly enough, not all the discolorations were in fact transverse cracks. There's very little spalling of the, if any, of the transverse cracks or the longitudinal joint. I did go ahead and measure the longitudinal joint here for the distress survey purposes. However, that is a little bit deceptive. The joint width is 3/10 of an inch. That's what I have indicated for lane shoulder separation. There is no drop off. Got a concrete shoulder here. The joint is 3/10 of an inch. Also got a pretty good breeze kicking around here. On this particular section, we were averaging between 13 and 17 cracks per 100 feet. That's a little bit less than on the other site we looked at earlier this morning. Again, I did not note any longitudinal cracking. I did note that it appears that I have come through and done some epoxy injection on like 2 of the cracks, the last 2. I'm not sure why, I'm not sure what the significance of that is necessarily. They did not do a bunch of it. I mean, there's none of it past the site. Well, we do have like half of that crack looks like it's been done, about half of this crack here, a small portion of the longitudinal joint, and that joint there. Again, looking to the north here off the end of our section. You can see there we're on the route to the DFW airport. I'll go ahead and walk back through the section just to give you a slightly different perspective. These dark lines you see here are where the tining machine overlapped. On occasion they correspond with a transverse crack, but that's purely coincidence. It does make the crack somewhat interesting to find because the tining is so considerably heavier in those locations. For the most part, however, this section is in really good shape. I believe one would be fairly hard-pressed to find some of these on the Pasco film. Some of these cracks are fairly tight. Without the occurrence of a little bit of spalling, I would think it would be almost impossible to see them in amongst all of the texture that this particular roadway has. Again, this section, like the one we looked at earlier this morning, is only about 5 years old. We are on State Highway 121 in the northbound lanes. We are in Tarrant County. And that concludes the video for section 485284.